Hobby House. Now, for anyone who's going to be studying abroad in university, you're going to have to work through your school's Office of International Programs. And for me, that is Hobby House. Hobby House is the Boston College study abroad program, study abroad people, and they manage everyone's study abroad, every country in the world that students from my school will go to. So, I started with Hobby House in October of 2008. I had just started studying Japanese. I was studying French again, and I had just finished studying German. And that gave me a lot of options. I went into Hobby House, and you schedule your first meeting with a random person saying, "Oh, I'm interested. I'd love to go abroad." And then the second meeting, you start meeting region-specific people. So in my first meeting, I met this woman, Esther, who was specializing in Germany, and told me about a school in Eichstätt, Katholische Universität Eichstätt. And then I met with Christina, who specializes in Africa and Asia, and she told me about Japan and also told me about this program in Morocco. And then I met with this woman, Rita, who told me about a program in Paris, and then also a program in Venice, Italy, an international program, which is it's a collaboration between 9 different schools from all over the world, in Europe, Asia, and the United States. And going into November, I had 5 choices. I had those 5 choices. After thinking about it a bit, I decided I didn't want to do anything standard. I have been to Europe before, and I don't want to spend... I feel like a year abroad can be so much more valuable, somewhere that's not traditional, somewhere that you wouldn't normally go, and wouldn't have a place to stay otherwise. So that left me with 2 options. That left me with Morocco, in this school that we have a tie with in Ifran, and also to go to Japan, to go to Tokyo. And after thinking about it some more, I realized I am studying Japanese, I'm not studying Arabic, and the only other language they speak in Morocco is French, African French, which I know nothing of. So I finally decided to go to Japan. I met with Christina, I told her what I thought, and she said, "Alright, I'll put you on the list, and you're going to need to confirm by the end of November to make sure that you go," which was a little annoying. It tends to be, at least in my case, that the more exotic the program, the earlier that you need to say you're committed to it. Because the French program, the German program, you had until February to say if you wanted to go or not. So I finally say, alright, I'm locking in with Japan. Alright, let's go. So, over that winter break, I'm writing scholarship essays. In January and February, writing more scholarship essays. And then at the end of February, we begin the process. And I get handed an application. And it comes in a black folder. You open it up, papers in both sides, and it has a checklist that the school, BC, prepares for you. BC prepared for me. And you look at the things, and I looked at it. There were about 6 items that you had to do. There was a personal history, which actually had a lot of weird stuff. It wanted to know my medical history, which was understandable. They also wanted an education background, and this was the first thing that ever asked me to put down my elementary school. Where I went to elementary school. It was a little weird. So anyway, I filled that out. They also gave me a JASO application, which I was glad to have, and a visa application, a basic visa application, the starter. So I filled those things out. The visa's a little hard to figure out sometimes because they say it's bilingual, and when they say it's bilingual, they mean that it's in Japanese and it's in English translated from Japanese. So they have words like remittance, they have words like defray, defraying costs, which I don't hear those words ever, so I had to look them up. But you fill them out, and Oh, the other thing that kind of miffed me about it is Hovey House gave me the application on a Monday, and they say, okay, we want these back by Friday. So I'm filling out all these forms, getting history, like figuring out when I was in elementary school. And as I'm handing it in on that Friday, I'm looking through all the paperwork, and I think about it, and it seems a little weird. It seems a little light. Like, this application doesn't have that much in it. It has no essay. It has no questions about, like, why am I going? Am I allowed to go? There was no language certification, which confused me a little bit. So I walked in, gave it to the secretary of the woman who handles paperwork, because unfortunately she had gone home. I gave it to the secretary, and I asked, is this all in order? And she looks through it, and she says, well, I'm kind of new here. I haven't worked with this school before. But yeah, it looks in order. And I say, you're going to give it to your boss, and it'll be okay. Yes. And she says, oh yeah, no, it's fine. Don't even worry about it. You'll be fine. So I don't. I go home. I don't worry about it for 2 weeks. And then on March 10th, I get an email. Oh, I don't even get an email. I get CC'd in an email that's sent to the woman who runs the paperwork. I get CC'd, luckily. And the email says, oh, your applicant, he has forms missing from his application. And it's not even like one form. Like, let me get it up. Yeah, on Tuesday, March 10th, Chiba Amy, this woman who works for the Center of International Education at Waseda, she says, the application form used was the wrong one, and the following documents were missing. Checklist for education, for exchange program application, SILS 1 year study abroad exchange program application, 2 letters of recommendation, proof of Japanese language proficiency, and application form for acquiring a visa. All of those things were not sent to the Japanese people. And I get this email. I immediately print it. I walk over to Hovey House, and I barge in on Christina, no appointment, throw this paper down, and I go, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? And she takes a day. She looks at it. She is pretty ruffled. And then I go back and see her the next day, and she goes, oh, well, it looks like we made a mistake. I mean, these things happen. I guess we made a mistake. And I was like, are you sorry? And she's, well, I mean, these things happen. You can't blame us.